lots of thoughts trying to come out at the same time. But,
I want to thank President Macron for convening us this evening. At stake is not just the future of Ukraine, it is an existential question for Europe as a whole, and therefore vital for Britain's national interest. This is a once-in-a-generation moment for the collective security of our continent. Only a lasting peace in Ukraine that safeguards its sovereignty will deter Putin from further aggression in the future. Now, recent statements by the US administration should not come as a surprise. President Trump has long expressed the wish for Europe to step up and meet the demands of its own security, that he wants to get a lasting peace agreement to end the war in Ukraine. So today's informal meeting of European leaders was a vital first step in responding to that challenge. On defence, it's clear the US is not going to leave NATO. But we Europeans will have to do more. The issue of burden sharing is not new, but it is now pressing. And Europeans will have to step up, both in terms of spending and the capabilities that we provide. On Ukraine, we're at the very early stage of the process. Europe must play its role. And I'm prepared to consider committing British forces on the ground, alongside others, if there is a lasting peace agreement. But there must be a US backstop, because a US security guarantee is the only way to effectively deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again. So I will go to Washington next week to meet President Trump and to discuss what we see as the key elements of a lasting peace. I spoke to President Zelensky on Friday and will do so again in coming days. And we envisage a further meeting with European colleagues when I return from the US. In this moment, we have to recognise the new era that we are in, not cling hopelessly to the comforts of the past. It's time for us to take responsibility for our security, for our continent. And I've been clear today, Britain will take a leading responsibility, as we always have, because Ukraine must have a secure future, Europe must have a secure future, Britain must have a secure future, and democratic values must prevail.
Everyone, in politics, it seems like a leader has a choice, but in reality they don't. Keir Starmer didn't really have a decision to make when it became crystal clear that the US was distancing itself from Ukraine. He knew he would have to align with other European countries. The UK has been saying for some time that it's one of, if not the strongest allies Ukraine has on the continent. So when it comes to committing UK troops to potential peacekeeping force, Starmer had no choice but to say yes. Donald Trump doesn't care about Ukraine. He sees Ukraine as a tool to weaken Europe. We saw this with J.D. Vance when he attacked and criticised Europe, trying to embarrass it. These aren't the words of an ally. But when Starmer talks about a US backstop, I think he's being extremely naive and overly optimistic. Hopefully when he meets Trump next week, he'll get some sort of concession or support, but I don't think that's going to happen, because Trump, in reality, does not give a shit what Starmer thinks, because we're just a small island. Okay, Starmer had to respond in this way, because despite the criticism he's facing over committing UK troops to a possible peacekeeping force, the UK already has peacekeepers, sounds like the Hunger Games, doesn't it? Deployed all around the world. There are about 600 UK troops in Africa, in South Sudan and Mali. Sending troops into harm's way isn't new, though I understand why people are angry and concerned, because it's not our war. We didn't start it. We shouldn't even be involved. And he had no real alternative here. He couldn't just sit back and let other European nations handle it. That wouldn't be leadership, would it, from Keir Starmer, the HR manager? It would mean abandoning Ukraine, and that's something he couldn't do. So naturally, he's going to face criticism from the Conservatives and other parties in the UK and across Europe, who will accuse him of acting like Trump and walking away. But in reality, there was no decision to make here. He just had to go along with it, because he's just a puppet. It's not just about throwing money into defence. You need the staff, you need the workers, and the UK can't rely on the US for technology or resources. So if you're serious about strengthening our military, we need to build up our own industries, and that's going to take time and a massive investment of resources. The workforce is already in short supply because of all the cuts from successive governments, so it's going to be a huge challenge. The alternative is to abandon Ukraine, let Russia continue its aggression into Eastern Europe, and eventually the UK would have to get involved anyway. It would be more costly at that point. If Russia continues its expansion, what happens to the UK's NATO guarantees under Article 5? World War III, that's what happens. So, Starmer's fucked either way what he does. So, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you for watching the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Follow my Facebook page. And feel free to buy me a metaphorical beer, not a real one, because that would be naughty. Thank you. See you next time. You actually made it to the end of the video. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, which, why haven't you already, is somewhere over there. And also, if you want to watch more videos, also check out over there. I've been Jake from Just Jake. See you later.